What's up, guys? So it's been a long time since I made a video on SoFi. You guys know that if you guys were following me back in this general region up in this range, and I was really talking about how I was seeing some bearish things in SoFi chart and that I was looking to short, although I didn't really get the best positioning. And unfortunately, I learned a lot of lessons up here because boy, was I onto something. But of course, I didn't get the exact top, and my expirations were not set properly for me to gain much money on here. So, I was looking at SoFi in this range right here. I was looking at this as a head and shoulders pattern, which did play out. And I was going to take some profits in this range, but I was getting a little bit, too overly confident that this thing was just going to continue down like it did here, but in this range. And it ended up dipping to this 1950, and then it ended up just taking right off, where eventually it ended up double topping up in this range. So I was very early here in this point, and we ended up ripping up a little higher. I didn't really see us getting much higher than this 2250-ish area right around here. This was kind of my key last resistance area. Although once we did get up above here and break up, I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so wrong, I'm an idiot. I was just kind of like, alright, so this thing still has a little more momentum, but eventually I still feel strongly it's going to roll over. And I was pretty confident in that. But unfortunately, I didn't get the exact top. And if I did go out even just an extra month from this point, I would have been absolutely loaded in money. So, it was just something to think about here for myself, was that when I start seeing things that I'm feeling that confident about, that I need to change my expiration to go at least a month or two ahead. And I've learned this with probably 5 different positions that I was posting and making videos on, about how I was seeing so much negative stuff in the charts that I just had to take a short position. And I would take a short position and I'd go, say 2 weeks out, and I would get this move, and then it would go back up, and then I'd be expiring before this move, like DocuSign, CrowdStrike, even some positions in Apple, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I just decided I would come back in and talk about this, because I was talking about, if we could come down here, and we could actually hold in the 1650 area to $17 range based off of this previous inverse head and shoulders, roughly this support zone here, that I might actually consider buying. And, during this drop, I was so angry that I wasn't in it that I just kind of ignored it. And eventually, when I did look back, I saw we were down in this $14 range. So I was starting to get a little bit excited in it, but I just didn't bother doing anything about it. But I was kind of looking at this area, which was a previous support. You can see multiple times, even chalking it up to roughly in this range, where we didn't really ever close below this yellow line here. We just wick to it and touch it and take off. So I was kind of contemplating in this consolidation, if we could make some kind of double bottom, I would have played a breakout potentially. But this just never gave it to me. And even during this big spike here, a lot of people got bullish, and I was actually posting on my trading view back in this point that, don't get too caught up, because this thing doesn't look like it's actually going to give this, be a real reversal, even though we got some pretty bullish news. And it ended up just being a fake out. And I was saying, if we could confirm this line of 1418, 1420 and confirm it as support, then we can say this thing is definitely ready to turn back around. So I was like, wait for confirmation above this. And, we got the pop. I was waiting for this backtest confirmation, and we just never got it. So, it's unfortunate, because I really think that SoFi is going to be great, but right now it doesn't look too good, and it still doesn't look too good. Now, whether or not it wants to try to make some kind of double bottom from here, that's going to be, something we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on. But as of right now, we are on the 4-hour time frame, and what we can see here, even just going strictly off of, say, not even off the wicks, we'll just go off of the bodies here, where we have been having a hard time closing any candles above this trend line here. which as of right now sits around 1274, we can see that we are in a symmetrical triangle right here, and we do have momentum rolling over on the 4-hour time frame here. And this is not going to be a very bullish video, because I'm just coming in here. This is the first time looking at the chart, and since basically this right here, just to see, hey, is SoFi turning around? I did see SoFi Stadium up on the Super Bowl and everything like that, and that actually made me want to come over here and go, let's see if this thing's setting up. But I just couldn't, I considered putting in a bid right here at this trend line. I did have this chart laid out. I just cleared it for this video just to kind of go through it really quickly. But I was going to put a bid at 1190, and it looks like I would have gotten filled. That was my only idea. Maybe put a bid at the support line here, and then just put my stop loss somewhere below and see what happens. And that still is a pretty decent trade setup. But, like I said, I don't know how well it's going to work out, because I would have probably been watching this like a hawk to see if we're going to actually roll over here. And it looks like we might. But one thing to look at is going to be this 1156 area here. We can see, just zooming in here, roughly in this zone, 1156, maybe a little bit higher to this flat bottom right here. What we can see is that roughly in this range of 1158, 1156, we've had wicks, bodies. Some bodies close below even a 4-hour. So probably looking at a daily, it'll show it that we haven't had a daily close. Yeah, we've had this daily close body below, but the next bodies have always closed above. So you could even go, if you wanted to really take a look, I mean, this would be something to watch for like maybe a short position or something like that. If you want to get in even sooner, you could look all the way up to, well, you can't really say that because that wasn't confirmed. Right about here, roughly right here, 1188. So if you started seeing a body close below, and then the next daily is getting resistance at 1188, that's probably going to confirm on a daily time frame that this thing is going to continue down here. And unfortunately, the next target based off of this pattern right here is all the way down at 940 now. If that does occur, right? It doesn't have to break down, and it doesn't have to occur, but that's the downside target. And for the upside target, if we did get a break to the upside, that target to the upside is 1536. So, we can look at some indicators and look at some potential, see what pattern this could be playing out also, besides just the symmetrical triangle, because there's always going to be patterns inside patterns. And if we go off of, you can go off the bodies or the wicks. Sometimes to get a better entry, you can go off of the bodies. So if we actually just go off of all the bodies, we can basically see that we could be in a falling channel, not quite a falling wedge, which doesn't really make it as good. But if we pull them all the way down, you can make it into a wedge. But that's probably, let's see, down to there. Yeah, so if you pulled it all the way down, you can see it's potentially in a falling wedge. But it's not that exciting to me to look at it like that. But we can at least keep this downwards sloping resistance. But as of right now, it doesn't look like there's much support down below this 1188 area here. You can see right here, before its liftoff, we had this consolidation right here. And anything below that, I mean, the next support down isn't until right down here, at least at this $10 range, which looks like we had a wick down there. So it's not looking the most bullish right now. Would I come in and start buying here? Personally, if I did, like I said, I might buy that 1190 or even this 1188 and, play off of that and then look and see if we got a daily close below. I'd cut my position. Looking at an hourly here, we can just kind of see that we still haven't been making any higher highs. I mean, this was the last one, and it still technically didn't make any higher high. But, it's really getting tight here in whatever, if this symmetrical triangle is going to play out, it's getting very tight between this potential downtrending line. And if we even got rid of that just to make it more clear, we could go off of, let's see. I mean, it's kind of like that with a couple fake outs. But this is pretty much what we're looking at right here. Boom, 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 boom. A little bit of a fake break, M'd out, came back down. So if it came up here and it did break up above 1275. You could be looking at something, but what I would do just to get like a little bit better confirmation, if I was going to play that, I would actually put a horizontal line here, probably above, right about there, because you can see when this hourly candle closed below here with a flat top, that kind of signaled your dump here. And then when we pumped above it, we still haven't been able to hold it as support. We can kind of look back here. I mean, you can go a little bit lower too to some of this as well, but you're going to have to just really kind of watch it as it comes back above this 1282 and see if you can actually hold some support on it. And if you could hold support there, then you might be looking at something a little better. But you can see that each time we've came up, we back tested it here. That could have been great. When we pulled up, we came back, we couldn't double tap on it, and we rolled all the way back down. Right here, we flagged underneath it. This is on a 15-minute. When we broke it, we got a good move. When we rolled back down, we couldn't back test it. Same thing here, couldn't hold it. So at some point, this should potentially, if it's going to get bullish, then it would come up and finally back test it, and then you could probably see a nice move out of there. But until then, this is potentially not looking too good. Even right here on the 15-minute, it does look like a potential bear flag right here. This is a 15-minute, so take it with a grain of salt, as it's potentially holding the same support here that roughly we've been getting nice, good bounces off of. But right now, we're kind of consolidating here, a little bit too long here. So we could be looking for another move down. And if we do, like I said, you have two levels, 1188, and then potentially down at this previous wick down here at 1051. Those are going to be your levels right now to watch. I am going to be looking for a position in SoFi. I'm kind of waiting for a setup because it's not really giving me anything. So I don't want to come in here and start trying to buy right now. I want to see it actually start reversing. And if we just pulled some indicators up just to kind of give ourselves, maybe like a baseline of what's going on here. I'm going to throw, at least for now, I'm just going to throw the EMA ribbon here and the Ichimoku cloud. I know it looks a little bit crazy, but it is something that we're going to want to look at on all time frames here, at least from the hourly up. So you can see all of this resistance here on the daily, but let's just go down to the 1 hour because that's all I care about right now. And on the Ichimoku cloud, we can see it's very, very red, showing some solid resistance here. This is probably just as big as it was right here before this rejection down. So, we don't really get much moves out of this red area here. But if you can get the momentum from it squeezing in this pattern and we do get a bullish break, this could end up turning into something a little bit better. But, for right now, I'm not looking for an upside move, unfortunately. But if we did, it would look pretty good because you would end up having this potential double bottom here. But you'd still find that resistance at 1422 if that did pop. And then you'd want to see it come back and potentially confirm that area for your long. So, that's just on the bullish look to it. That's what you'd want to probably see. On an hourly, we are not printing. It's hard to say on the hourly RSI. It's a little bit choppy. But, the key thing for me would be to watch this MACD here because it does look like it is getting ready to cross on that 4 hour, and that's going to give you your big sell signal right there. So, if this thing can find support here and it actually can roll up, that'll be great to see. But as of right now, even if I just remove all of these drawings here, because I can always redo them, we can see that we're starting to potentially M out here, have a little bit of a double top up in this range. You can also, if you wanted to, be even safer with an entry than what I was giving, we can probably go somewhere by this 1312. But even with that, I mean, you have all of this resistance up here, and we just lost this blue line of support. If we got rid of the Ichimoku cloud real quick because I'm running out of time, and we just went by the EMAs, we can see we just lost the 4 hour 20 EMA, and let's see where the daily EMA is right now. The daily, we're just closing below here, which is actually 1264. So look for at least a couple dailies closing above this 20 daily EMA.